Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at creating a par 5. So that's going to be the focus on this episode. Just looking at the course that we've laid out so far, starting on this whole tutorial series. We've worked our way up to hole 3 now, so that's going to be our par 5. And then it's got a bit out of hand really, because the whole course wasn't really designed to be an actual course. It was just designed to lay out holes and make a tutorial out of the holes, but it's actually turning into a proper course now. So after this par 5, I'm going to start focusing on smaller videos, just doing specific little things that people, if anyone wants any help or tips on how to do certain things, just leave it in the comments and I can do small little videos on doing specific little episodes, 10-15 minutes long, because they're getting quite long, these, and I don't want it to be like another journal of creating a course. I will crack on with this course on my own, because I think I want to get it finished now. I've sort of captured my imagination now a bit, and I'll just crack on with smaller tutorials, and then I might do a little recap on hole 9 and hole 18 if anyone's interested in that. But I'm really enjoying the course now. It's captured my imagination, which is what you want as a designer. So as regards to where we kicked off from the last episode, or where we left off, I was having issues with the lighting being really bright, and I didn't want to make it, excuse me, sorry about that, I didn't really want to make it dark. So I've combated that by just adding a layer of fog onto the course. It's nice and misty in the darker settings when the clouds go behind, or in front of the sun, sorry. But when it brightens it up really nicely without being overpowering like it was. So I'll just show you what we've laid on. We've laid the fog pretty low, so it's only a low ceiling of fog, but we've made it reasonably dense now. It's darker at the moment, the sun's not really out, so it gives it a nice sort of misty effect looking through the course. If we just play this one, it's changed the vibe of it a little bit. That is a little bit more mistier than possibly I would have liked, so I can drop that back a bit. I don't want it to be overpowering with the mist, but the thing is, what's really working well with is when it's light. It's just dulling down the light when the sun does come out a little bit, and it's not overpowering it, but it's bright enough that it's still capturing everything. That is darker than I'd really like. At the darkest point of the course, when the sun goes behind the clouds, that is as dark as I would possibly want it. I would like it a bit lighter than that, to be honest. So we'll see if we can creep off a little bit of the fog, and then we'll get going on our par 5. It's going to be a reasonably simple tee shot on the par 5, what I've got in mind. Let's creep it down to 78 or 80. I just want a little suggestion of mist, really, not overpowering. So we'll look at that. It may do for now. We'll keep it for a minute. Let's just play for our hole and get to our par 3. That's our approach. A nice helping wind there. Now the sun's starting to come out, that mist sort of thins out really, so it's keeping a really nice light on the course. Helps if we went up a club, wouldn't it? But I've shape the green a bit more, so it's a lot harder this approach. And this shot going back now is a bit of a double breaker, which is cool. Not enough legs. But yeah, if you look between the trees, there's a nice bit of mist. Now that's the brightest it's going to get, and I've sort of got that little bit of mist and it's dulled it down a little bit. So I really like the brightness of that in its lightest setting. So I've taken a couple of trees out right at the back there between the gap, just to expose that hill a bit more in the next tee box. That's where our next tee is going. Still want to flatten out a little bit of area around that. Around the edge of the retaining wall, still a couple of little things there I can see. That runs away from you. You can't be on those bunkers up there because you just, it's a nightmare once you're up there. And then we're back to there, now hole 3. So let's get going on that. That's where we are so far. So hole 3 is going to go through here, and we're going to pick up the tee box pretty much straight away off the back of that tee. So we'll lay our hole out. I want to do a dog leg right. So we're going to get to about 280, and we're going to run it right. And we're going to be around... See, this is the thing I want to get right with this par 5, is the distance. I want it, it's going to be going slightly up on the drive, and we're going to peak on a hill, and then we're going to be coming slightly down on the approach, but then we're going to come back up a little bit again for the green. So distance is going to be key. I can mess around with the tee box. I've got plenty of room here to bring it forward 20-30 yards if I have to, or it's taking it back is the issue. So what was our distance? The actual tee shot is going to be 591, is it? 594. So that may work. Let's just leave it like that for now. We can mess about with the green a little bit, as long as I've got 20-30 yards in each direction to work through. Now that's the edge of our plot there, and the edge of our plot's there, so we've used that first. That's the edge there. We're just coming down this left side now and swing a dogleg right, and I might bring some holes back through here, a little zigzag, a couple of holes, and then try and get 9 back to about here near hole 1, and then have 18 over here somewhere. So that's the plan in my head. Let's just lay out a tee box so we've got a basis to start from. And we'll lay down a little bit of brushed fairway for our tee box. We'll use our rectangle shape again, which we've been using. Move those tee positions so they're a bit closer together. That's that one. We'll bring this one back, so we're going to have to just tap on our waypoint. Where is it? There. Now we can move the tees. So we'll bring that one forward a little bit, and we'll put it about there. Now green tee will creep forward as well. That's our 2 distances for now. That'll do. Need to flatten out that tee box a bit wider. Do for a second. Let's get that started. So we've got a basis to play our sightline shots from. Obviously, when I need to clear some trees out of the way, that's next. clear generated trees. So I want to make this fairway reasonably tight because I'm thinking of having no bunkers on the tee shot, but I'm going to make the approach shot quite trappy, so there's going to be quite a few bunkers around the green for the approach. So I'm not going to take out too wide a distance of trees around here. Try and keep it tight for now. And then we're just going to start smoothing out some land so we've got a basis to work from. Get this nice fuzzy shape. Stretch it out. And we'll just start flattening it out a little bit so it makes it a bit easier when it comes to sculpting the actual rise and dip that we've got in our mind to do. Just flatten this out. Now, as I said, the tee shot is going to be slightly uphill on the approach. We're going to have a dip down, but off the approach shot, the tee shot is going to be rising up slightly. So let's get that going. Let's get our raise tool out. The bigger I can make it, the less sculpting I've got to do in the long run. I've already flattened it out. Don't want it that drastic, put about there maybe. Just depends what the sight line's like off the tee. Like I said, there's going to be no bunkers on this drive, so I'm not too worried about that. Then we're going to have it raise, because I said I wanted to dip it down a bit, didn't I, on the approach, and then rising back up again for the green. And then the green will just bring up a tiny bit like that. Draw a fairway and see what it looks like. So I want to make the fairway reasonably tight. Let's go to around 180, do about that. It's quite a simple fairway really. It's just how I'm going to do the tee box really. Tee box, sorry, the green complex, that I'm going to leave the fairway a little bit short for now. So I'm just thinking in my head, if I leave it around here, then I can work out all that, what's going to go on there. We're just going to do a really simple shaped fairway for this one. The difficulty of the fairway is going to be sort of in the tightness of the drive. I'm going to try and camber it round a little bit so it's coming left to right a bit more, so it'd be a case of raising this area up a little bit. Let's just get our smooth on that. And our secondary surface. So, as I say, I want to raise this little area up a little bit and have it a banked drive off the fairway. We'll come through that, not too severe. So I want to come over this hill and I want to have that approach into that green, which is going to be rising up. And we're going to have bunkers all round really. I may even elevate it a little bit more. Not sure. I want it to be a gentle rise up really, nothing too drastic. So let's get down low, spin it that way. It's just got to work with the bunkers I've got in mind. Let's try that for now, and then I know that I want strange bit there. Let's delete that point and that one. It's only a starting fairway, so we can tweak it as we go. I know I'm going to be running the path around to the right again, but this time it's because every path has come through the right. I'm going to bring it across the left, raise up a little area, and have a bank that runs around the back of the green with the path running around the back. Lots of tall trees encompassing the green to come off to a tee box over here somewhere. You'd think it would be easier to leave the path running that way. We've done that every time, so just as a feature, we're going to leave it and run it round the back this way. Just as a little feature. Let's have a look at our drive. Hole 3, Tiger. And this is going to be a really tight tree-lined fairway. It's just a case of how steep we want to make the camber running from left to right. To make it, I don't want it to be too punishable, because I like people to have an approach on a par 5. So you know yourself, the second you run off the fairway on a par 5, it sort of deflates you. I want to make the difficulty in the approach. I like people to have the approach shot. We can pinch it in a little bit, so I don't want it to be really easy. I want a little bit of fault off the tee, not just a step onto the tee. Oh, that's fine, I'll hit that. I just want a little bit of fault going into it, because I want to make it really tight tree lined, so you won't be able to see any of the green or nothing. Just this area you're hitting into. And then for the approach on the green, let's have a quick think of how I wanted to do that. I had something in mind. So our fairway is going to run round to the right. Okay. Oh, just drop something, excuse me. So that's our shape of our green. Let's get that in. It's going to be this sort of shape, so I can have a bunker on that left hand side there, quite wide across the back. Might need to be made a bit bigger. Then we're going to have a bunker on the left here in this corner. It's just the basic shape of what I want to do. We'll smooth that out. And we'll possibly make it a tiny bit bigger for a par 5. I want it to be a little bit larger in size. Move spline. So we'll look above. And then for bunkers, I've got one on the right here, which I want to be this sort of shape, cutting in a little bit of that there, one there, and then I want one on the left here in this little gap. That is going to be sort of around the front a little bit. Like I say, this little area on the left is going to be raised up slightly higher. I want to leave a little area for that to kick onto the green there. One about that. And then I think I want one at the back here on a raised area. So we'll just raise up a little point around the back there on the right. What could we use? Not getting onto the green too much, so go right back, raise it back here. That's the sort of height I want around the back of the green all the way. So that'll do for a minute. And then we'll be putting a bunker in there. So where do we want to put it? About here, I guess. Nothing too fancy on that one. So that's the sort of approach I want there. And then I'm going to be running the cart path there, so let's just run a cart path round so I can get the visual in my head. Ooh, cart path 1. So again, that's going to be coming round. Yeah, we'll just have to smooth all that land out there to get that working right. So we'll bring it round. Going to be tight lined trees, so might disappear the path behind the trees this time to make it more interesting. I want the trees to be tight all the way through the fairway, so yeah, I'm going to have a line of trees. I'm going to have the path running behind the trees, so it's not going to be massively visible all the way around. But when I get down to sort of this area through here, I want to cut it across the fairway up through here, and I'm going to maybe wanted it a bit tighter there. I'll move that point in a second. We're going to run it behind the trees again and just come back to about here. That's going to be the basis of our path there. I'm just putting it in so I can see where I need to do stuff. I'm going to bring that over a little bit. I want that tighter. And well, that's okay for now. And then I'm going to smooth that spline out. If I click on it at the right spot. And then we are going to run a heavy rough over the top of that, and then our light rough. We might as well join it up now. Now we'll do the... Shall we? Yeah. Let's find our cart path point. There. We'll find the green tick. Had it then a second ago. I'll join those two up, then we'll get our heavy rough in, and then our surface weathering. That surface weathering, yeah, that will show across the fairway. Heavy rough. Heavy rough spline. Let's get that going round. Just conscious that we've constantly had that path running down the right of the hole, so it'd be nice on the approach to have it coming up through the left this time. Disappear through the trees. We're going to have a big bank of trees behind the green, quite tight to the green, so it's quite heavily tree lined on that one. Put that in, and now we can lay our surface weathering over the top of that. And then I've got a good idea of where I could start sculpting stuff. Doesn't have to be perfect, as you can see. Ooh, let's put out that one. I don't think you're going to see much of this path anyway from behind this tree here, or this set of trees that I'm going to be putting on. I need to be a bit more detailed here. For a minute. That gives us an idea of where we're going to be putting so out on that one. And then I want to change the colour of that surface weathering spline. I think it was 53. 52 will do. That's that. That's our green complex. Our fairway we can now cut in. Start from about here. So let's have a look how we can do this. We're going to cut across there. I'm going to leave that quite tight through there. We could always, as we've always done throughout the rest of it, we're going to be tweaking these spline points, but we're going to get the main focus of the fairway in. I want a little bit at the back. I want to go through that fairway, through that bunker, sorry. We'll just take it to the front, I think. Bring it back through there. I think we'll just leave it short of this one. Come right round it. And we should be able to just come back out a little bit round. Try and join it up onto our point somewhere over here. Get our secondary surface in. See what it's like when we smooth it. Sometimes it makes a big bit stick out like that because we smooth that particular point. Those 2 points are well out, so just take that back for a minute. Back again. About there. Do it for a sec. And this one here. I always find just deleting the point makes it easier. It's fine. So I'm going to start a bit of sculpting now to try and get a bit of character to the hole because it's looking a bit bland. It's all going to be about the trees on this one. Once we start getting the trees in, it'll really sort of set it off. That's kind of how I want that one. I'll dip that to expose a little bit more of that bunker there in that gap. And then I want to raise this a little bit through here, couple of foot, and then we'll be dipping down this whole area here to expose the bottom of the bunker. And then I want to run that bit around the back. I'm going to try and use, can I get away with one shape to do the whole thing? It's got to be inside that path line. What do we want there? We want that whole path line to come up with it, don't we? So something like that for now. I'm going to actually creep it forward so it's picking up a bit of the fairway. So that's all going to be trees through there. That'll do that for a minute. Just need a lot of smoothing out of through there. We'll bring this path up a bit higher. Have this area a bit higher. Don't mind that bunker kicking up like that a bit now. We've got to start to drop this down without it impacting too much on our fairway, which it looks like it's going to. So we'll just have to bring that central green complex up a little bit. This is why I wanted to get all these cart paths and stuff in first, so I could see how much I need to raise and lower stuff and sculpt. Because at the moment I don't want. Let's leave that for a second. It's going to need raising. Let's raise the whole thing diagonally across there. So I want to bring it back into view through there. Need to flatten that out. It's going to be quite a tricky sculpt, but we like tricky sculpts. Keep it in the shape of that path running through there. Use the raise on this bit here just to drop it down a little bit. That's everything the other side of the path that's a huge issue at the moment. So here, really all we need to do is start just teasing the land up. So we'll use the flatten tool there. We'll just bring it up to where we roughly want it. I'd say maybe about there. Cut it diagonally across that path. Once we get that sort of height right, we can then focus on the rest. So 3 foot there. Come down a little bit. I think that needs to come down a little bit. Three foot there. We'll just see what that looks like for a minute. Just need a bit of flattening out on that point there to get that right. Probably will re-spline this whole fairway. So we're a bit flatter there now, we just got to do this bit here. It was just a guide to get the fairway sort of, so we can see where we're going, but we'll re-spline it a little bit neater, I think. Where we're doing all this raising, you can see it's really affecting. There's a lot of sculpting still to do, actually. If we get down low, we can see how much we need to do. Let's get to our point there. Start working our way back up. It's just having, the thing I'm trying to be careful is I want to leave an area where you can sort of try and run a shot up the hill and get a nice kick, and at the moment you're not going to get that with what we've got, so we need to look at that green complex a little bit somehow, try and work that out a bit neater. Starting to get the shape I want. I mean, the hole's really all about how tight the trees are in terms of how it looks. That's the key to the hole, to make it look sort of pretty. It's quite a simple hole design. And we got that one, haven't we? Let's move that point all the way up to about there. So it's off the back of that bunker. It's just this area here. I might have to lower that area a bit actually. So get that shape. Try and just tease that big ridge down a little bit so it's at more ground level. That's where we are. It's fine. And we've got a little spine that runs from here up. So you can kick it onto this area and try and get it up there. Let's just move our pin, say, over here somewhere for now. Oh, missed it. Okay. Around the back, let's get that a bit smoother. Because I want that all to be the same sort of height to get our trees going through there. Slightly more raised on that bit. And then I want that to be about that sort of height all the way around. That's where our trees are going to end, and then we'll just have a little bit of sculpting to do. Around the back here, I don't want that path to be quite that low, so let's get a big shape. Try and find where our path starts and start to tease that up a little bit. About that. That's fine. And then smooth out these little areas here quickly. Like I say, that's all going to be heavily tree lined there, so you're never really going to see any of that behind. We just got to start dropping it down now for our next tee, which will be over here somewhere. That'll do for a moment. Let's have a look at just playing it, see what the distances are like. Just deliberately leave that tight to the right to see if it kicks, how far it kicks over. Not too bad. And what sort of approach have we got? We've got a 3-wood in. It's the sort of distance I kind of wanted. I mean, we obviously haven't got a helping wind, so that's fine. It's a left to right wind, so forget Tiger's got such a fade on him. Let's rewind that shot and take it again. I think once we start getting all the planting in, it's really going to make it look more interesting. Still can't hit it. So I think the length's okay at the moment. Just think that bunker's too big. I want to keep it in the same spot, but just want to tease it down a little bit in size. And if we are going to be looking at a layup, we can either put maybe another bunker around here or something so it forces you to lay up short of the path. Or we can maybe put one short of the path. Depends how much it affects the sort of overall look of that. I'd move the handle. try and get that sort of shape going through there so it matches that. See what that looks like with a bunker in here. So like I say, it's quite a simple drive. It's the approach that I want to make the main strategy. What have we got going on there? That's fine, we'll sort that out. And then I'd like to try and tease that up a little bit so we can actually see that bunker. We'll have to flatten out that bit of fairway through there, but that should be quite easy if we can get that up to a reasonable height through there. I do want to leave a little dip so we can expose part of that bunker as we'll lose it. Taking on this big bunker on the right is the only place you can really sort of bump it onto the green, which is cool. If you're going anything left, you should hopefully kick towards those bunkers. That's made the layup a little bit harder. So you're going to have to really drop short. So we need to sculpt the green, but that's irrelevant at the minute. Let's just get our shapes right. Let's try getting in some trees so we can have a good look at it. So we've got a whole heap of trees here we can use for that. Let's just pick our pines out, looking on the left. Might do it a different way actually. I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned way. I can, no I can't, can I? Got so much grass and planting through there that it's really hard to highlight the pines at the moment. So just bear with me while I just get this done. Once we've dragged them over onto the course on the hole 3, we'll be able to just keep nicking them and moving them. There's no grass planted, so it'll be a lot quicker. There's loads of trees we can use here. So we'll just copy that lot. We'll drag them round. There's a nice little shape they can start to sit in there. So I'm quite tight to the fairway. Spin it a bit more. And we'll do the same on the left, but we can just highlight these pines a lot quicker now because there's going to be no grass. So that shape will do for a minute. We're going to copy selection and we're just going to spin it around the other way now. So I'm going to try and get it to sit somewhere in there. It's cool. I'm going to run a few more back to the tee now. So we'll use these ones this time. We'll twist them around the other way. then back through there. And we'll do the same again on the right. Just going to nick a couple more just to get us back to oh, I've done that. I didn't want all those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Spin those round and get those in here somewhere. That should get us back to by the tee. Then we're going to do the same in this little run here. So we'll use this side this time. Copy selection and spin it round. Actually got quite a lot there. So it's just working out. I want to keep on this side. So that should be about right. Actually put a few there we don't need. So we'll move those over. I wanted that path to disappear behind those trees, so we could just use these few that are excess just to finish off around the hole. 2 more there. Let's drag both of those together. 1, 2. Get them in that little spot there. Okay. That's the start. Do the same run again. And by the time I've added other little trees in, and we'll put a couple of extra little ones, you won't notice that they're all copied and pasted. Especially if we're twisting them and moving them, you'll just never see it. If you do, you've got good eyes. Just need a little run down the right now. This will obviously be a couple of episodes again just to get this done. And as I said earlier, we're going to be moving on to smaller videos. I'll finish this course on my own. Hopefully a couple of weeks it'll be ready. We're moving reasonably quick. So I'm going to get them all in that little gap there. Up to there, that's about right. Because the idea of the tee shot is if you're short, you could really have to fade a shot round there. So for a basic, let's have a quick look. What about behind the green actually? I want to get those in if I can. I'm just going to run a few just behind the green, so we use the back of, let's try these trees here. It's going to be difficult, isn't it? Again, because we've laid so much grass there. Trying to highlight the trees I actually want. It's going to be hard. Now, with all these filters, there is ways you can do it, but I do it sometimes when I'm deleting stuff or highlighting certain things, but I still haven't fully mastered that section of that yet. But it's like you can turn off all these splines so they won't appear when you do this sort of stuff. Selected items, copy selection. I'm just going to sit this behind here for a visual at the moment. I want this really heavily tree lined at the back here. Gives me a rough blueprint to work to. Let's have a look at this now. I think all it's a case of at the moment is if I raise the hill up any more to make it higher off the tee. Obviously got a lot of fillers to go in. Terrible. I think I found that bunker every time. That area behind the green is going to be really dense in trees. Let's play from here. Try and get this approach right for once. Yeah, that's going to be really dense for trees all the way around. You shouldn't see anything. It's still a long shot on it. Can't stay out of that bunker, can I? So that's with only with that particular wind at the moment. If we have, I think, a southerly, it would be completely different. So what we'll do is, in the next episode, we'll start finishing off the plant and getting all the fillers in really tight. Getting some grass run around the edge of the fairway. We'll probably re-tidy up the fairway a bit. Look at finishing off the green complex, getting all that planted really nicely and tight. Planting all around. Not sure whether to just run vegetation through here or I'll definitely have trees all around the back here. Trees all the way through. Trees. You won't see anything. You won't see anything other side of this path. I'll probably just run some low bushes through this section and grass, but try and leave the path a little bit exposed here and there. And then I'll probably run another line of fillers through here, so you won't see nothing there. Same again on the other side, you won't see any of this gaps through these trees. It's going to be really enclosed and tight. It's quite a simple par 5 design, nothing fancy. It's just a case of whether, like I said, I raise this off the tee, this drive up a little bit more. A bit drastic. It's not really worth it for a foot, is it? Like I said, I want people to be able to have a shot into this green because I think it's going to be difficult to eagle unless you've got the right wind. It's just a case of whether the drive works. Let's try it in a different wind and then we'll be done for today. I think it might be a south, would be a tailwind. It's a high wind as well, so no, it's not. If it's blowing that way, you're west. Let's try west. that's the wind we're looking for. It shouldn't run out at the back. Hopefully it might kick us round. So that's the perfect drive you're looking for, really, with the right wind. And still got a 3-wood, but we've got to carry the front of those bunkers now, which is cool. You've got to really fly it over this. Well, I mean, we're going to sculpt the green anyway, but the way it is at the moment, you're really going to have to fly it over those bunkers to try and get the kick. So that's fine. So as a concept for a par 5, it's working fine. I really don't think we need anything off the fairway on the drive. The only thing we could possibly do is narrow out the fairway a little bit, but I don't want to make it too narrow. We could just pinch these corners in a little bit. And that one there. And you can see where we drove a minute ago. I think it's pretty fair, but it's still tight. And you're going to have an awkward stance. It's going to be below your feet. I think it's challenging enough for now, but we've got a lot of sculpting to do, obviously, on our green. I'll probably do this off camera. I'll keep the same pattern for the fairway, but I'll just re-spline it so it's all one spline and a bit neater. But that's our hole at the moment. We are looking at 591. I think the layup could work nicely. It's going to drop you back to about here, which is going to give you a pitching wedge in. Just need to make sure we've got a nice bit of movement to make it challenging for the birdie if you do lay up. And we've got enough hazards there if they go for the eagle that they're going to find some problem if the shot's slightly out. So I think it's working. Our whole course from above is running all that way now. And we'll make the turn after this hole and come back. But there you go. That's the first episode of our par 5 video. By the time it's finished, hopefully it's going to look like a real nice par 5. We'll get a bit more sculpting done and lots more planting to do. So catch you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to. And have a great day, everyone. Take care. Cheers.